Hey everyone, and welcome to Chima Invests. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right with your money? You're saving, you're investing, but you just don't feel rich? Like, at all? Well, today we're going to talk about exactly that. We're going to uncover the 8 secret signs that you're actually building some serious wealth, even if it's happening so quietly you can't hear it.
I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. You hop on Instagram and what do you see? Lambos, Rolexes, crazy vacations, the whole shebang. And our brains are wired to think, wow, that's what being rich looks like. But the truth, the real life-changing wealth, it's almost always invisible. It's built in silence through hundreds of small, boring decisions that nobody ever sees.
And this really breaks it down, right? On one side, you've got the pop culture version of wealth, all flash, all stuff you can show off. But on the other side, that's where the magic happens. Real quiet wealth isn't a thing you own, it's a feeling. It's knowing there's a growing gap between what you make and what you spend. It's setting up automatic investments that work for you while you sleep. And maybe the most important one, it's that incredible feeling of peace of mind. All right, so here's a quick look at where we're headed today. We're going to start by tearing down the myth of what being rich even means. Then we'll get into the specific habits and the mindset of quiet wealth builders. After that, we'll talk about the real prize, the freedom this kind of wealth buys you. And finally, we'll wrap it up by looking at your own path forward. Okay, first up, the myth of being rich. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret that nobody really talks about. Building wealth, well, it feels kind of boring. Seriously. It's not some big, flashy jackpot moment. It's the opposite. It's the 1,000th time you choose to invest that extra $100 instead of spending it. It's slow, it's quiet, and it's uneventful. But that boring consistency, that's the secret sauce.
So, with that myth busted, let's dive into the actual habits of quiet wealth. Think of these as the building blocks. These are the concrete actions you take day in and day out that slowly but surely build your financial fortress. If you're doing these things, you are absolutely on the right track.
All right, sign number 1. And honestly, this is the big one. This is the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. You have mastered living below your means. And look, this isn't about being a cheapskate or eating ramen noodles for the rest of your life. Not at all. It's about being deliberate. It's about creating a space, a gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap, that little bit of empty space, that's the fertile ground where your entire financial future is going to grow.
Let's make this super clear with a little story of Rich Richard and Poor Peter. They both make the exact same salary, $75,000 a year. But look at the difference. Richard consciously decides to live on less, creating this beautiful $20,000 gap. That's not just money, that's options, that's freedom, that's sleeping well at night. Peter, on the other hand, spends more than he makes. He's digging himself into a hole of stress, one purchase at a time. That gap is the whole game.
And that first sign flows perfectly into number 2, you actively resist lifestyle inflation. Oh man, this is probably the biggest trap out there. You get a raise, you get a promotion, and what's the first thing most people do? They upgrade their life. A fancier car, a bigger place, more expensive dinners. It feels great for a second, but you're just moving the goalposts. You're never actually getting ahead. Being able to say no to that urge, that's a legitimate financial superpower.
So let's go back to our guys Richard and Peter. Check this out. They both get the same awesome $20,000 raise. Woohoo! But this is where their paths diverge big time. Peter's first thought is, what can I buy? And bam, his lifestyle costs jump right up with his income. He's barely investing any more than before. But Richard, his first thought is, how much of this can I save and invest? He decides to keep his lifestyle exactly the same and puts that entire raise to work for his future self.
Now you might think, okay, what's the big deal? Well, this is the big deal. That one single decision, repeated over a few years, by the time they're 40, Richard is almost $250,000 richer than Peter, $245,000. That's not from some risky stock pick. It's just from that one simple, boring habit of not spending every new dollar he earned. It's powerful stuff.
Okay, so we've talked about the actions, the habits. Now let's shift gears and talk about the psychology. This is what's going on inside your head. Because, your habits are like the engine of your car, but your mindset, that's the steering wheel. It determines where you're actually going. This is the stuff that really separates the people who build wealth from those who just spin their wheels.
Sign number 3 is a huge mental shift. You stop thinking in terms of days, weeks, or even months, and you start thinking in decades. Our culture is obsessed with getting rich quick, right? But you've realized that the real path is get rich for sure. You've fallen in love with the slow, steady, unstoppable power of compounding.
You're planting a tree that you know will one day become a giant oak. And here's what that looks like in practice. Richard's strategy is, let's be honest, boring as heck. He just puts in $500 a month, every single month, no matter what the market is doing. He doesn't care. Peter, though, he's on a roller coaster. He's chasing the hot crypto, the meme stock. He's always looking for that big win. But he never stays in one place long enough to let compounding do its work. And after 20 years, look at the results. Richard's boring plan has built real wealth. Peter's exciting plan has basically gotten him nowhere.
Oh, this next one is a game changer for your mental health and your wallet. Sign number 4. You finally stopped comparing yourself to other people. It's so easy to get caught in that trap, isn't it? You scroll through your feed, see your friend's new car or their vacation photos, and you feel that little pang of, I'm falling behind. But you've come to realize that comparison is a game that is rigged against you. The only person you're competing with is the person you were yesterday.
Let's take this $60,000 truck, for example. When Richard sees his friend pull up in it, his genuine thought is, hey, good for him. I hope he loves it. He feels zero pressure because he's focused on his own goals, like that growing investment portfolio. But Peter, he sees that same truck and his brain immediately goes into panic mode. I look poor. I need a new truck too. And just like that, he's taking on a huge loan for something he doesn't need, all because of comparison. Being immune to that pressure is a sign of incredible financial maturity.
Okay, sign number 5. This one is all about shifting from a victim mentality to an owner mentality. It is so easy to blame things outside of our control, right? My rent is too high. My student loans are crushing me. The economy sucks. And while those things might be true, the quietly wealthy person stops making excuses. They take what I call radical ownership. They focus 100% of their energy on the things they can control, no matter how small.
And a huge part of this ownership mindset comes down to the words you use. Think about this. When you say, I can't afford that, what are you really saying? You're saying you're powerless. You're a victim of your circumstances. But watch what happens when you replace it with, that's not a priority for me right now. Boom! Just like that, you've taken the power back. It's no longer about what you can't do. It's about what you choose to do. You're in the driver's seat now.
And if you want to see the real-world impact of this mindset, look no further. Here we have Richard and Peter again. Same $65,000 a year job, living in the same expensive city. Peter just throws his hands up. It's impossible to save here, he says. He sees only problems. Richard sees the same problems, but he asks a different question. Okay, given these constraints, what can I control? So he gets a roommate, he bikes to work, he makes small optimizations, and in 5 years, the difference is just staggering. 85 grand versus 4 grand. It was never about the income, it was always about the ownership.
All right, so we've covered the habits and the mindset, but let's get to the big question. Why? Why go through all this trouble? Why be so disciplined? Well, this next section is the answer. This is the real payoff. And spoiler alert, it has almost nothing to do with buying more stuff. It's about buying the most valuable things in the world, peace, options, and time.
So let me ask you a question. What's the true price of an emergency? You know, when the car breaks down or you get an unexpected medical bill. The bill might say $1,000, but is that the real cost? No way. The real cost is the stress, the panic, the scrambling to figure things out, the sleepless nights. The real price is your peace of mind.
And that's why sign number 6 is so powerful. You've built yourself a financial buffer, an emergency fund, a cushion, whatever you want to call it. This is money that doesn't have a job except one, to sit there and protect you. It's your financial shock absorber. It's a moat around your castle. Its sole purpose is to buy you breathing room and turn life's giant emergencies into minor inconveniences.
And you can really see the power of that buffer right here. When Peter's laptop dies, it's a full-blown financial crisis. It triggers panic, it probably goes on a high-interest credit card, and it causes a week of stress. When Richard's laptop dies, it's annoying. That's it, it's an inconvenience. He calmly goes out, buys a new one with cash from his buffer, and moves on with his life. That is the freedom we're talking about.
Now, this next sign is a little counterintuitive, but it's one of my favorites. You know you're getting rich when money is no longer the main character in the story of your life. Think about it. When you're broke, money is everything. It's all you think about. It dictates all your decisions. But as you build these quiet systems and that buffer, something amazing happens. Money gets demoted. It becomes a supporting character. It's just a tool in the background working for you while you get to focus on the actual plot of your life.
Just look at where their mental energy goes. Richard's finances are completely automated. They're on autopilot. So his financial life is super boring, and that's exactly how he wants it. It frees up all this brain space for his family, his hobbies, his career. Peter, however, is constantly putting out fires, chasing deals, stressing about bills. His money is exciting, but his life is absolutely exhausting. I want you to remember this. The goal is to make your money boring so that your life can be exciting.
Okay, I want you to really think about this next question, because it can fundamentally change how you view your entire life. What if your ultimate goal wasn't more money? What if it was more time? We spend so much of our lives trading our precious, limited time for money. But what if you could start to flip that equation on its head?
And that brings us to our eighth and final sign. And this is truly the final level of quiet wealth. You start to feel rich in time, not just in money. You begin to see your money as a tool, not to acquire more stuff, but to buy back your most valuable, non-renewable asset, your time. This is when you've really made it.
Let's look at how this plays out. Richard pays $150 for a cleaner to come to his house. Now, is he buying a clean house? Kinda. But what he's really buying is 3 hours of his life back, which he can then spend with his family. It's an investment in his time. Peter, stuck in the old mindset, spends his entire Saturday, a huge chunk of his free time, scrubbing floors just to save that money. He's still trading his life for dollars. Richard has started trading dollars for his life back. That is the ultimate flex. All right, let's bring this all home. We've gone through the habits, the mindset, and the real freedom that wealth buys you. Now, let's talk about your path. Let's help you see where you are on this journey and give you the confidence to stay the course.
So look, the bottom line is this. If you're listening to this and nodding along, you are on the right path. If your savings gap is growing, even if it's just a tiny bit, if you're starting to think about your investments in terms of decades, not days, if you're beginning to value your time more than shiny new objects, and if you've stopped blaming the world and started taking action, then please hear me when I say this. You are doing it right. You are quietly getting rich even if you can't feel it.
And I want to leave you with one final question to chew on. Building real, sustainable wealth isn't supposed to feel like a fireworks show. It's quiet. It's consistent. It's often boring. So if it doesn't feel like you're getting rich yet, what if that's not a sign you're doing it wrong? What if that's the ultimate sign that you're finally doing it the right way?
And that's a wrap for today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me here at Chima Invests. If this helped you see your own financial journey in a new light, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more tips coming your way on how to build that real, lasting, quiet wealth. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.